control laws govern how certain information, technologies, and commodities can be transmitted overseas or to a foreign national on U.S. soil. The scope of these regulations is broad, impacting research, collaborations, and international engagements, regardless of the funding source. Because so many of us are involved in research and travel, it is important to be familiar with these regulations and to know when to ask for guidance. Meet the Research Integrity and Compliance Team within the Office of the Vice President for Research. They provide support and training for the university community on export control regulations. UConn works with multiple companies and sponsors, including government agencies, on research and development. Different branches of the federal government administer different export control regulations. The Department of State oversees the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, or ITAR, which regulate defense-related technologies. The Department of Commerce administers the Export Administration Regulations, or EAR, which cover a wide range of goods, technologies, and software. EAR restrictions may apply to physical objects, sometimes referred to as commodities, as well as intellectual property, such as technology and software. The Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, manages economic sanctions to support national security. These regulations work together to implement and enforce U.S. sanctions and export control requirements. The consequences of noncompliance are serious, including hefty fines and even imprisonment. For institutions, failing to comply with sanctions and export control regulations can mean the loss of federal funding that could impact future research initiatives. What is an export? Export is defined as the actual shipment or transmission of items out of the United States that are subject to the EAR or ITAR. Everything that leaves U.S. borders is considered an export. The shipment of items such as materials, equipment, technical data, or software to international entities is subject to U.S. export control laws. Prior to shipping an item internationally, UConn employees are required to perform a due diligence check and communicate with the appropriate UConn offices, including export control, to help ensure they are lawfully shipping their item. A deemed export refers to the release of technology to an individual in the United States who is a foreign national. It is considered to be an export per the regulations, even though the release took place within the United States. Deemed exports can occur through demonstrations, trade shows, conferences, oral discussions, plant visits, or through the electronic transmission of non-public data. Given our diverse university community, which includes domestic and international students, researchers, and visiting scholars, the risk of deemed exports is significant. If an item is classified as export controlled, its shipment or transfer may be prohibited for foreign policy or national security reasons. When it comes to travel, UConn employees planning international trips for university business, including research, should be mindful of sanctions and export control requirements for certain embargoed countries. Researchers involved in sensitive sponsored projects must consult with the OVPR Research Integrity and Compliance Team before traveling abroad. Additionally, traveling with university-owned equipment outside the U.S. may require a license or authorization. This includes items like research equipment, laptops, cell phones, telescopes, and encryption software. Note that even if the encryption software is authorized under U.S. regulations, many countries have laws allowing them to decrypt messages and data without judicial authorization. When shipping materials such as lab samples, substances, or biological and genetic materials internationally for research collaboration, a material transfer agreement must be completed and reviewed by OVPR Export Control prior to shipping. Employees should also contact UConn Environmental Health and Safety when shipping biological and hazardous materials such as chemicals. Understanding and adhering to export control regulations is essential for all UConn community members engaged in research and travel. If you have any questions regarding EAR, ITAR, OFAC, or any other export control issues, please do not hesitate to contact OVPR Export Control at exportcontrol@uconn.edu.